Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you a speed version of the live stream from 10/17/2019. And the idea for this live stream was to create collage monsters using magazine collage. So I had a bunch of different little snippets of magazine stuff from catalogs, from different whatever magazines, and I just go through, and I did some of this last night while I was watching television. I just go through, flip through. If something has an interesting shape or I think I might be able to use it, I just snip it out, and then later I will go back and cut it out. And this morning before the live show, I sat there and cut out some things so that it could speed up the process here of making these little Frankenstein type creatures on an art journal page. This art journal is filled with cardstock that's been gel printed on both sides and then stitched together with linen string. And this particular page is where I was experimenting with the gel printing technique. I think they call it image resist or image, I don't know, whatever, but basically it's a resist, and it's using certain types of magazines that have a certain type of ink and coating, and you make a thin layer on your gel plate of acrylic paint, and then you press down the magazine page and it will create a resist of what is on the page, and then you use another piece of paper to pick it up. So that's what this is. It's just I was experimenting with that technique. So you can see some words, you can see some different stuff that was from magazine pages. I can put the video of how I made that in the iCard up in the right hand corner so that you can watch it if I remember to do that, and just see how it was made. Most people use it to make like colorful portrait style beauty picture type things. So what I'm doing is I have all these little pieces, shapes, not looking specifically for something in the magazine, but more looking at the shapes of things and trying to think of how you could create these little stuck together ideas of creatures, weird, wacky figures out of all these different separate pieces. Since Halloween is coming up soon, for those of you who celebrate that holiday, we thought it would be fun today to have kind of a Halloween episode where we're making funny stuff. And Peg made some cards and tags with different Halloween things that she had because she didn't have time to prepare for the magazine collage. So I'm doing that, she's doing the other. But I have some faces. I have cats, different animals, and also different people. I have eyes, I have mouths, I have arms, I have legs, and then I have a lot of other weird, random stuff that I can use for bodies. And I'm just finding things and laying them down and auditioning them. I wanted to have 3 characters across the page. I was having a little trouble fitting in another one, but some of these things are furniture. Some of them, like the little skirt, is an umbrella. There's a white robe. There's an upside down plant. There's a cat face. There's sunglasses. There's moth wings. There's a stack of 3 pumpkins. A votive candle. It's just random stuff that you will find in magazines, and you can put it together. Also, you can put it together with some scraps too if you want to. I was intending to make some of it out of scraps, but I forgot. So I ended up making the entire page out of magazine pieces. When you're doing a live stream, you're not thinking a whole lot. You've got to pay attention to who's coming into the chat, what they're saying, all that type of stuff. I have some legs. This is just a completely random, fun, abstract, surrealistic thing to do. And it's really fun around Halloween time because it's kind of like making little monsters. That's what we were thinking. And when you're making these type of characters, it doesn't matter if things are proportionate. It doesn't matter if things match on both sides. Like this arm is longer than the other arm. It's bigger. It doesn't matter to me. I just am cutting them apart and fitting them together. I'm using a glue stick to stick them down, and then I intend to seal the entire thing after everything is stuck down to make sure that it stays down and everything is, put in well. I decided to use the votive candle for a neck on this character that has the pumpkin, 3 pumpkins as a body, and then a little cat head face. I thought it would be fun to make them have animal faces. Sometimes you can make them have, faces of people. And if you really develop this, you can go really far into it. You can make interesting backgrounds. You can put some stenciling and some mark making on there. I have an hour and a half to do this, so I don't really have the time to go as deep into it as I could. But it's a lot of fun, and it's relaxing. Not thinking a lot about planning or what I'm doing exactly. I'm just putting things together and attaching them to the page. So I really recommend it. Um, as you're going through your magazines, a good idea is to have maybe some little Ziploc bags or little plastic containers that you can sort as you're going through your magazines. Like, say you want to put all your arms and legs in one, and you want to put faces and eyes and heads in another one, and you want to put body shapes. Um, but you're mostly looking for shapes that you think are interesting, or textures that you think are interesting, or, you know, you don't want to spend so much time that it doesn't become fun. So I just sat down with a couple different magazines and trimmed out things that I thought were interesting, and now I'm sort of sorting them into what I'm doing. I think that changing the eyes on something, whether it's a face or an animal face or whatever, if you change the eyes, it makes a completely different look. And you can have a lot of these little strips of eyes that you've cut out of a magazine or an article or something, advertisement has a lot of faces that you might not think are really, you don't want to use the whole face, but or there might not be a whole body that you can use in an advertisement, but you can trim out the eyes and the mouth. I didn't use any mouths on this because I was using animal heads, but changing the mouth, changing the eyes, changes what the character looks like a lot. So I put different cat eyes on one of the cats, and then I put human eyes on another one of the cats, and then I ended up putting sunglasses on the elephant. Because of course elephants wear sunglasses, right? So yeah, this is fun. The only problem that I'm having is that the glue stick isn't sticking as well as I'd like to over the acrylic. But I do intend to coat it, and I will coat it. But then when I coat it, I picked the wrong I picked something that was too fluid. Magazine paper these days is such ugh, yucky paper. It's so thin, it's so fragile. You barely touch it and it tears. So that's the only thing I don't like about this is having to deal with that type of a flimsy paper. But it's worse than text weight paper. It's worse than tissue paper. It's just, yeah. So I'm using a permanent glue stick, and then I'm also using a baby wipe because I keep getting the glue stick all over myself and sticking to my fingers. And then when it sticks to my fingers, I pull the pages back. I pull the pieces back up. So other options would be Yes glue or napkin collage glue. Those type of mediums probably work better with this thin, icky paper than what I was doing. Because then I put a fluid matte medium over it and made everything wrinkled after I put them down so nicely. It's not too bad though. So now I'm just trying to create a character for my elephant face with sunglasses, and I've got a wine bottle for the neck And then I think maybe a spoon instead. You know, you just got all these random shapes in the magazines, and why waste them? Why not have some fun with them in your art journal? Of course, you could also do this process, make some tags or some paper dolls. I'm in a group of paper doll makers, and I might actually do my project this month with this style, perhaps. Since it is October, I might do that rather than my more intensive jointed dolls. I'm not sure. I know that I've committed to make a paper doll for a person that has to be in the mail at the end of the month. I know that, but I haven't gotten to it yet. I haven't gotten to much of anything yet. So I finally decided to use an upside down glass that's got something in it for the body of the elephant. And I've got this arm that has a tray of candies in it that she's offering. And I thought that was a fun arm. I put some butterfly wings on it. And then I've got my elephant head, but I needed something at the bottom still. Do I need legs? What am I going to do? So I ended up having to go and get out another magazine to get some hands and feet and legs out of it because I hadn't cut out enough of those. So I found another umbrella that makes a cute skirt. I think those umbrellas make adorable skirts. They're bright and colorful. So I decided to use that. And then the upside down glass and the wine bottle neck to make this character. And I do end up getting 3 characters on there. There's a pumpkin in the foreground and a plant in the background. This is where I was looking for hands. I end up getting 2 different sizes of hands for the ends of my arms, but it doesn't matter because these are Frankenstein magazine monsters. So they're not going to all match. That's what's fun about it. So that hand is much larger than this hand that I'm putting on. I know there are other videos out there on YouTube that do this type of style. I know a couple different people went into it pretty extensively, but mine are just my style, you know. Not exactly the same, but a similar idea. I have some other videos where I've done this type of stuff too over the years. I'll try to find some and put them in the end card at the end of the video so that you can link. You can use the links to go and watch them. Of course, there'll also be a link to the live stream, which is where this was recorded. And you can watch it in real time if you want. And you can see what Peg made with all her different Halloween stuff that she had. I don't know what else to say. What is there to say? I ended up putting the butterfly wings upside down because I wanted the larger one on the other side. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's supposed to be weird and strange. I found this words that I had cut out, which were in my stack of magazine cutouts. I don't know where they came from, but it's funny. It says, not everyone was kung fu fighting, right? Or something like that. You know, everybody was kung fu fighting. Ha! Yeah. I thought that was funny and worked really well with this weird page. I mean, what am I ever going to put that on, really? You know? But I'd cut it out from something, probably a catalog that maybe was a T-shirt or something. I don't know. Funny though. It's funny. I need a good laugh. So I think I've got everything pretty much stuck down, and this is where I put some matte medium over the top and brush it down with a flat brush, just to make sure everything is sealed. Nothing's going to come up. Everything's got glue on it. This does create a few wrinkles because the paper got a little bit too wet. I should have used the gel medium instead. That's not as wet, but I just wasn't thinking. And I gave it a good dry and tried to press down some of the wrinkles with my now mostly dry baby wipe. The reason I use a baby wipe is because it has a little bit of moisture so it doesn't stick to the glue. So then I want to lighten up the background a little bit, just in some places. So I get out some diluted white paint and paint around some of the things just to get a little bit of lightness in the background. Because in some places it's just too dark for my next step, which is going to be to add shadows. I hope you guys are enjoying this process in this video. If you are, please remember to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment or question below. You can subscribe and turn on your notification bells. And of course, you can pin this on Pinterest if you have a fun category to pin it in. I'm not sure what category this would go in. I mean, it could be art journaling, or it could be, I don't know. I don't know what you'd call this. I mean, it's just magazine collage. You could have magazine collage category, or you could have, I don't know, funny, maybe something about being funny. I don't know. Anyway, you can pin it on Pinterest if you want to. That would be cool. All those things, of course, help my channel by helping other people who might be interested in my content find me. There's so much stuff out there on YouTube that it's hard to find new people sometimes. Hard to find something new and something that you might be interested in if you don't know what to search for. So now I have a purple Faber-Castell pen. This is the India ink pen, and it gives me just a couple seconds to blend it with my finger before it dries. But once it's dry, it's permanent. So it's a great product for mixed media. I have a large set of them, and I picked purple because it was darker than any of the background, but still coordinated it and blended in with the background of this particular gel print page. So I wanted to use purple. Why not? Why not? Purple is a great color. Purple and orange together, very Halloweeny. There was a little bit of an advertisement on that one pumpkin. It said Country Farms or something, and so I colored in that pumpkin with some Faber-Castell markers as well. You can see my set over there. They're the brush markers, the pet pen brush markers. Then I wanted to add some highlights. Of course, I have added my shadows now. I want to add some highlights. And so I put a little petal of the Posca pen down on my scratch paper, and I'm using a water brush to pick it up and add some highlights here and there to some of my stuff. And I will then come in a bit and use the actual pen to add some more, like, kind of more intense highlights, but I just wanted to add a little bit with my more subdued highlights first with my water brush, lightening it up in places. The more contrast you get with something like this, the better, because it has a lot going on. And so your first inclination, when you first look at it, you don't maybe see everything. Maybe your eyes jump to something, and then when you study it longer, you see a lot more of the detail. So having some contrast with the shadows and the highlights make it look more put together and kind of direct your eyes a little bit. So now I also have my black fine tip Posca pen. That's an acrylic paint pen to just make sketchy lines. I like to do that. Make some sketchy lines around things, kind of define shapes, because ultimately I'm an illustrator. I like lines around things. It's a personal style choice. So I do that both with the black Posca pen, paint pen, and the white as well. Just kind of fast, scratchy, sketchy marks that are made by my own hand. I think that it doesn't look like a piece of paper that has a lot of stuff stuck to it. It looks cohesive because of these extra steps. It looks like it's intentional. Everything is where it should be. It has shadows and highlights, and those finishing touches really make a difference to me. So that's it for me. Thanks. Bye-bye.